Well, it's a tough time for everybody economically, and they say that the movie industry is recession-proof. But as producers, are you noticing the pinch?
It's recession-proof in the sense that I think people always want to go to the movies, and the audience is going to be there. I think the studios themselves and the smaller companies are going to be squeezed as much as anybody else in the business community. I think that you're going to see fewer movies being made, but there's been a glut of movies being made in the last few years. So actually bringing that into a smaller number is probably going to result in better movies. So the hope is that the audience is still there, and I think television is still going to be strong. So production will go on. There's no question.
So how do you finance your films nowadays?
Well, the hedge funds are certainly gone, and we'll probably move back into more conservative financing, smaller budgets, overseas, probably multiple partnerships.
But we're still basically
creative ways.
supported by the studio system. So
the studio system is having to look for outside financing as well. So.
And I would think that you two don't worry about it, but I mean, it's the others who are maybe trying to still break into the industry and trying to produce.
Actually, everybody worries about it now.
I mean,
everybody worries about it.
This movie took 18 years to, of just keeping our head down and moving forward and trying to get it made. And it ended up being two studios. It's Warner Brothers and Paramount that are financing the movie. So it's not that easy.
Can you clarify for us? There's been lots of rumors about Jurassic Park 4, and I heard recently that you two had indicated that maybe you're finished with that.
Well, let me put it this way. There's no active work going on right at the moment. We're not developing a screenplay. We're not discussing any production plans. And I do think with the death of Michael Crichton, which was so shocking and way too early, I think that Michael was very much a part of those movies. So I think we would be hard pressed to move forward, I think.
At what point do you ever call it quits on a film? Like, how many films do you work on at any one time, and when do you know, okay, it's time to let go of this idea?
There's so many different factors involved in a film, and depending on how large it is, I mean, there can be just as many struggles on a small film as there are on a large film. And I think you have those instincts that tell you whether or not it's a story that interests you. It always starts with you. Your passion and your drive to get something done. I think Frank and I often share similar sensibilities, so the fact that we can share that passion is great. But you kind of know if something's sort of run its course, or you keep hitting up against a brick wall. And then every now and then, I even look back on Diving Bell and the Butterfly, which was a movie we made last year, small film, seemingly impossible idea, but all the right people came together at the right time, and it seemed to be a kind of a movie that people wanted to get made, and so it happened. But you can never really account for why things happen or don't happen.
And a lot of it is just timing. The timing was right for Benjamin. And, then, as Kath says, you get to a point where can you push anymore, or do you want to put your energy and your time into something else that you think might have more of a chance to get made?
I'm just kind of curious. I mean, how do you two? You've been called a power couple, and the uber producers of Hollywood. You have quite a record, and I'm just curious. How do you make this partnership work at home and when you come to work?
I've always said what I think is interesting is that because we work together and we're so involved in the things that we do at work together, that when we get home, most of our conversations are about the kids and school and whether or not we're going to take a vacation and where we're going to go and what needs to be done around the house. And we don't. And if we do, it's a shorthand, and it doesn't build any kind of resentment because we both understand the need to prioritize, and so we support one another. If one of us has to go off and do a movie and we have to throw ourselves into the work, I think there's just an understanding that we have the support of each other for that.
Well, I think there are two really important things in making a movie. One is communication, and so we get that a lot because we're together a lot, so there's a shorthand, and so we cover a lot of of area on the movie, and also collaboration. And you can't make a movie alone. So we understand what each of us like to do on a movie. We can do it all if need be, but we tend to let the other do the areas that they like, and then we come together on things, and it just kind of works.
Yeah, it works really well, obviously. I recently read a quote in Variety, and you were talking about how you and Frank, you were talking about how you and Kathleen collaborate with filmmakers such as David Fincher, and you said, quote, "We try to surround ourselves with people who know a lot more about what they're doing than we do. We believe that we're in service to the director, and we try to support the director's vision and help motivate everybody else on that team." You
That's
two,
pretty good.
well,
I said that?
You said that. You're quoted as saying that. And I'm just curious, at this point in the game, though, considering, you know, how many of the top 20 films you two have produced, I mean, who else in this business knows more than you do at this point? Like, who do you still have to learn from?
Well,
I think we learn all the time.
And I think what I mean is, you know, like your cameraman, your editor, your production designer, your casting people. I mean, all of those people we depend on because we are the support for the vision of the director. Somebody has to be in charge, and on a movie it's the director, and so we service that vision, and we try to bring the best people that we know for that particular movie. I would never bring somebody probably that works on only dramas into the Bourne series. You know, so you pick and choose the people that you know and their expertise, and then you put them together.
We often refer to it as casting the crew.
Right.
We cast the crew in the same way that we would talk about casting an actor. Who's appropriate for the role? So that goes on a lot.
You've received a lot of different awards for your work, and I guess recently the Selznick Lifetime Achievement Award from the Producers Guild of America, the Lifetime Achievement Award from the Visual Effects Society, which I guess you're going to be awarded next year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You've been nominated for an Oscar 4 or 5 times, same with you, Frank, and I'm just curious, you know, do you still have a goal of winning an Oscar? Does that even matter to you, considering all the blockbusters that you've produced and all the success you've had?
It's always nice to be recognized by your peers, and they also say it's always nice to be nominated, which is great, but I think I'd like to win once.
Yeah, I think that's
I'll be honest.
It's not a bad goal, but in the end, it's always for the betterment of the movie, because anything you can do, especially when you take somewhat of a risk, as we have with Benjamin Button, you know that getting the audience to be familiar and aware and understand the movie they're going to go in and see is half the battle. And now with the proliferation of the media being what it is, that's harder and harder to do. So getting an Academy Award would not only be gratifying personally, but it's just great for the movie.
And I think the Golden Globe nominations are coming out.
They're coming out soon.
Yeah, tomorrow.
And, you know, I don't think we ever take on a project or start a project with, you know, the goal of that in mind. We just try and make a good movie, but it is nice to be recognized.
A friend of mine here wanted me to ask you two, at what moment in your careers did you think to yourselves, quote, "This is it, there's no doubting it now, I am a fantastic success in one of these toughest industries on the planet"? Can you answer that for him?
No, it's never happened. No, I think you have those moments where you feel that you've achieved what you set out to do, and that is a rewarding feeling, especially because we work in a medium where you can have instant gratification of sitting in a theater and seeing a group of people respond to what you've put up on the screen. But I don't think we ever take away a feeling that that's it. It's always, every movie is different, and the challenges that go along with that present, you know, different goals.